Hey y'all, welcome to Camirra's Kitchen. Today we are making a homemade hamburger steak with a homemade mushroom and onion gravy, some mashed potatoes, corn, honey butter dinner rolls, some peas, and some fried cabbage. Look, if you're ready to throw down on this meal, go ahead and give me the thumbs up. If you tell me this don't look good, I know the truth is not in you. Because this right here could hit. Now I am going to season up 1 pound of hamburger with some roasted garlic and herb seasoning, some pepper, some salt, and a little bit of garlic powder and bouillon. I'm also going to add in 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. They're just plain, as well as an egg. I'm going to shake in a few dashes of some Worcester sauce. And then I'm going to mix everything gently. After I had started mixing, I decided that I wanted to put some minced onion in there as well. And then I mixed it. And of course, y'all, this is a simple seasoning, but I really think the key is using that bouillon and that roasted garlic and herb seasoning. I'm going to just take my hand and I'm going to divide this into 4 even sections so that I can start creating some balls. I'm then going to roll this out into some flat hamburger patties. Now, you don't want them to be too thick because once you put that hamburger in your pan, it's going to draw up and become thicker. So I like to start mine out with kind of, a little bit on the thinner side, okay? We're starting straight in with the oil of the South. We are putting in some butter, baby, into a medium skillet over a medium heat. I'm going to melt this and then I'm going to add my patties. I'm going to start by cooking this for about 3 to 4 minutes undisturbed. You want to get that nice crust because that crust is going to help develop a fond at the bottom of your pan. As you can see, there's little brown bits developing down there. Well, that actually is going to flavor our gravy. So it's essential that you get a good color up on there. Sometimes you just can't rush good things, even though a hamburger steak meal is so easy. Or do y'all call this like hamburger and gravy? Because we all know this is not a steak. Who came up with that name? You know what I'm saying? Or Salisbury steak. Which name do we use here? Okay. Now, once it's cooked on the other side, I am going to take them out and I'm going to throw in 8 ounces of mushrooms, half of an onion, and just about 1/4 of a bell pepper. That pepper giving a little color, little flavor. I'm going to saute this with no seasonings for about a good 3 to 5 minutes. That's going to make all the moisture come out of those mushrooms. And then you want to go in with a little bit of pepper and a little bit of salt. And I'm going to put some of the Worcester sauce right on the mushrooms because I want them to absorb that flavor. Then I am going to put in a tablespoon of flour. Now, I actually don't like a ton of gravy. So if you like a lot of gravy, double everything I'm doing here. So add 2 tablespoons of flour and definitely add more water and more cream than I'm going to be adding. I'm going to toast the flour to get out that raw flour taste for about 45 seconds. And then I'm going to start adding in water. Initially, it's going to look thin. It's going to look like it ain't going to be no gravy. But if you give it a second and you let that flour kind of absorb that water, it's going to come together. And even though this is a brown gravy, I like to throw in a little cream. I put in about 2 tablespoons, but of course we want it to be brown. So I'm going to just stick some browning, okay, Jamaican browning straight in there. They also sell kitchen bouquet. That could also work to get you a nice brown color. I'm going to season this with about a teaspoon of beef bouillon, a little bit of pepper, and that's pretty much all mine needed. And then I'm just going to keep adding water until I get the consistency that I want. And I did not measure my water, guys. I'm just eyeballing it. You know how we cook in the kitchen when we just doing a little something. Now, if you are enjoying my Sunday meals or my full meals, my soul food meals, let me know in the comments and give me a request for some of the combinations you guys would like to see. What are some things that you like to make for either a quick weeknight dinner or even just a full soul food Sunday dinner? Let me know. I'm going to cover this and let this simmer on low for about 3 minutes just to let all the flavors come together. And then this is the consistency I like for my gravy. Of course, if you want more, just add a little bit more water and thin it out. Just adjust the gravy to your taste. The key to some good mashed potatoes is salt. I am adding a full 2 tablespoons of salt to my water with 3 pounds of potatoes. That salt, it's going to seem like it's going to be too much, but once it boils and you drain it, it's going to be perfectly salted and you shouldn't need to add any more. My potatoes took about 15 minutes to cook. Then I drained them, and in the same pot, I'm going in with some unsalted butter, about 2 tablespoons, and about half of a cup of half and half, but you could also use heavy cream, and just go in there with some pepper. Cook this on low so that everything can melt, and then you want to add back in your potatoes and take a potato masher with a strong arm. Okay, this is where, if you've been doing them bench presses, you've been doing them bicep curls, you can show the people what you're working with, okay? You want some smooth potatoes because you don't want lumps, all right? And if they've been boiling long enough, they will actually become smooth very quickly. You can taste these for seasoning. Most likely they will not need salt, but you may need to add a little extra pepper and just beat them until they are smooth and you have some delicious and creamy mashed potatoes. I'm going to saute 2 strips of bacon for my fried cabbage, and when they have rendered their fat, I'm going to add in some peppers and some onions. I'm going to let that saute just for about 1 minute before going in with 1 head of small cabbage that I have chopped up roughly. They're in about 1/2 inch pieces, but I ain't measure, okay? Now I'm going to go in with one of my favorite seasonings, Vegeta. I'm going to link that in the description, and then I'm going to pile on my cabbage. Now it's going to look like, okay, it ain't going to have enough room, but y'all know cabbage will shrink. So put that top on, let it cook on low for a few minutes, and it will wilt right on down, baby. I'm going to then turn it, and then I'm just going to let it keep cooking until it gets to the tenderness I like. I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of water because this cabbage I had wasn't super juicy. It didn't release a lot of juice. After about 10 to 12 minutes, I felt that mine was okay, but you really need to cook this to the level that you like. I like a little bit of crunch on mine, but of course, if you like it super soft, you can go for about 20 to 25 minutes. I'm going to adjust the taste with a little bit of sugar, okay, a little bit of pepper, a little bit of garlic powder, just to my own taste. Now, the sugar won't make it sweet. It's just going to bring out the natural sweetness that is in the cabbage. We're going to do a very simple corn on the cob in a pot of water, add about 2 teaspoons of salt. And this is some fresh corn that I have just cut in half. I am going to allow it to boil on about medium for about 5 minutes. Then I'm going to cut off the heat and allow it to rest for about 10 minutes. And that will give you some perfect corn on the cob. I just heated up some frozen peas. I added a dinner roll. I put a little butter and honey on it and heated them up in my air fryer. Let me know what you're going to make from this video in the comments. You guys know that I love you, Jesus loves you, and God bless everybody who watches this channel. Thank you so much, and goodbye.